Welcome to Spiritual Foundations for Life. I have a question for you. How much can we accomplish in the kingdom of God when we operate by ourselves? Nothing. Second question, how much can we accomplish in this present church age if we do nothing and expect God to do everything? Again, nothing. See, God has committed himself to work through his church. We have the privilege to plant and water in God's kingdom, but according to 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6, God makes it grow. So nothing grows without God, but also nothing grows if we don't plant and water. Romans chapter 10, verses 14 and 15 says that no one hears unless a preacher is sent. So we need God to send a preacher, and we also need preachers who are willing to be sent and to speak. See, God could have chosen to bypass the church, but he has chosen to work through us instead. It is his intention that as we walk together, Jesus provides the perfect example of how this works. Jesus was a carpenter during his youth, and this can help us to understand the principle of co-laboring with God. You see, carpenters in the first century, they didn't frame houses like they do today. Instead, they made doors, and they also made yokes out of wood. A yoke is a heavy wooden beam that fits over the shoulders of two oxen. The yoke can only work if the two oxen are both in it and are pulling together. For the purpose of training, a young ox was often yoked to a more mature ox. The young ox, you see, would be tempted to stray off to the left or stray off to the right, but the old ox stays on the right path. The young ox may think that the pace is too slow and so tries to run ahead, but all he gets is a sore ox because the older ox will pace him. And then slowly the young ox begins to realize that the old ox knows how to walk. The pace is right and the course is correct, so he decides to learn from the old ox. Well, you know, Isaiah chapter 40, verses 30 and 31 says that though youths grow weary and tired, and vigorous young men stumble badly, yet those who wait on the Lord will gain new strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not get tired. They will walk and not become weary. Being yoked with Jesus does not mean that we sit around all day long thinking religious thoughts and expect him to do it all. Nor does it mean running around in endless activities trying to do it all by ourselves. It's a walk with Jesus, the only one who knows the way, the one who is the truth, and the one who has the life to make it possible. In him we will find rest for our souls because his yoke is easy and his burden is light, according to Matthew chapter 11, verses 29 and 30. What would we learn from Jesus if we walked with him, if we truly were yoked with him? Well, we would learn how to take one day at a time and trust God for tomorrow, as we see in Matthew chapter 6, verses 25 to 34. We would also learn the priority of relationships. We would learn how to love people and use things instead of loving things and using people. We would also learn what it means to be compassionate. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 9, verse 13, "Go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice." And Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 to 30 is the only place in the whole Bible where Jesus describes himself. And he says in Matthew chapter 11, verse 29, "I am gentle and humble in heart." You know, with all the harshness and the vulgarity surrounding us in this fallen world, we have been invited to walk with the gentle and humble Jesus. And actually, that's our key point, that we've been invited to walk with a gentle and humble Jesus. And our key verse, Proverbs 13, verse 20, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm." God bless you. See you tomorrow for another episode of Spiritual Foundations for Life.